So thank you. Can you all hear me? So I'm Katrine, and I am from the company called Konyher in Copenhagen. So just to give you a little bit about my background, I am from the film industry. I've always been really fascinated by storytelling. So I was really impressed when I heard about this project called Konyher VR, which is a software in VR that is created to help people that suffers with schizophrenia. And this is something very different from my field, but this made me really interested in the company behind this, this solution. And that's why I ended up at Konyher. Konyher is a Copenhagen-based production company. We do VR and AR production, and basically we're an agency slash production house slash showroom slash also everything else that has to do with explaining the technologies. We've done more than these 450 different projects working with virtual reality and augmented reality, and also more than 1,500 workshops. So we're kind of consultant as well, especially for like normal agencies in Denmark and Scandinavia in general. And what is so fascinating is the ability of what we've really specialized in is virtual reality. So this explanation of having this full immersion, this understanding of feeling present in where you are, and this triggers the brain. So something that you probably know a lot about, I just wondered how many of you actually work with virtual reality and augmented reality? There's a few. So maybe sometimes this is not completely new to you. So yeah, what we're talking a lot about is the fact that you are the camera. So that's why this is such a big feeling of presence when you are in virtual reality, and this virtual stimuli that you also get from it. So we talk a lot about this possibility to use virtual reality and augmented reality as a tool to transport people to places that they won't be able to visit, a tool to create empathy, to really make connection with people and create emotions. So this is why behavioral change is such an important topic in this. And I think there's a lot of discussions on this, this event about AI and like what is the future. But I'm trying to like talk a little bit about what are we actually able to do now. How is virtual reality and augmented reality like a tool that actually show potential right now? Of course, it has loads of potential in the future, but what is actually something that we are able to do right now? And that is why behavioral change is such an important topic when we talk about immersive reality. So some of you probably know Mel Slater, but Mel Slater is one of the researchers behind a lot of the stuff that we know about, like behavioral change and this whole idea of embodiment through VR. So this is something that we're thinking a lot about when we do projects at Konyher. And especially this idea that you can change people's opinion about, for example, racial biases. So I think some of you might have tried the Green Book, which is an amazing VR experience that takes you through how it was to be a black man or female back in the days where you had to carry a Green Book to travel in certain states in America. And this experience is so it gives you the feeling of actually being present and being there. And this is why this is such a good medium to change how we feel. I know a lot of you have heard about this experiment. This is where they try to make people do different things in a VR setting. So, for example, cutting down trees. And this was a research that showed that people that tried this experience actually reduced the napkin consumption when someone spilled water straight after they tried this experience. So how many napkins they used was used for this research. So to see that people that tried to cut down trees in virtual reality actually used fewer napkins than the people that was just informed about how this, how cutting down trees can really reduce napkins consumption. So different things that we really look into. So also the research about like embodying different sexes in this sort of idea that if you try to be a woman in a situation where you're getting abused, and if you try this as a man, you'll probably have a bigger understanding of what it actually is to go through as a woman. So a lot of different things about this whole embodiment part. And what I want to show you is some examples of what we've in Konyher done in terms of this whole idea of behavioral change. Because this is super interesting to see how we can adapt this to a marketing perspective, and especially in terms of like commercials or campaigns that really wants to give a message to people. So we've done this experience together with Ørsted, which is a big energy company in Denmark, and they changed their name from Dong to Ørsted and became much more focused on climate solutions. So they wanted to make something that really gave the users the presence of understanding what their focus was. So we created this. This is a little teaser video.
We created Space Safari because we, as an energy company, want to raise the awareness of the current climate crisis we are in, and seeing the Earth from outside. We learned from astronauts and a guy called Frank White, who coined a phrase called the overview effect, that when you see the planet from outside, you get a feeling of wanting to take care of it. And that feeling, we believe, is important to democratize.
So, as Niels from Ørsted said, they wanted to democratize this feeling, but it's impossible to send a lot of people into space. So they did kind of the next best thing, which was that we created this experience where you get taken out to space together with different astronauts that's like narrating the experience. So we have, for example, a Danish astronaut who's narrating this experience from his perspective and actually talking about what he felt like the first time he saw the Earth from outside and wanting to take better care of the Earth. So this kind of like embodiment of being taken out and having this storytelling is very much how this experience creates this better awareness, and maybe also hopefully when people take off the headset they wanted to do something. That's basically what we're striving to create with these experiences, is to get people to want to change when they take off the headset. Another example is a campaign that we did for Sikkerhedsstyrelsen in Denmark, which is a campaign they do every year about safety around firework. And of course, it was really hard for them to convey like the headset experiences to a lot of people. They did all these events where you actually went out there, you tried the VR headset, you tried to experiencing getting fireworks shot in your face, which was very really dangerous experience, but taken into a safe environment. So to broaden this campaign, they did this reaction campaign, and I just have a few small video from that. But it was basically this little. You probably don't get the Danish, but this campaign where they had some people trying the experience and getting that like complete experience of having a a fireworks shot at your face. So they also did some extra things in this experience, but this was put out on YouTube as a reaction campaign, an awareness campaign, and it was viewed more than 2 million times, because sometimes it's not just being in VR that's the most interesting, but also watching other people try VR. So this was a very popular campaign amongst young people, because it's really funny to see how these guys react to having this very dangerous situation, experiencing that. The same with transporting people into places that we can't really visit. So in terms of sales, sometimes it's really hard for big companies with the sales funnel to sell, for example, project apartments that hasn't been built yet. So we created this experience where you could actually walk around in the actual architect drawings. We took a drone up and actually 3D scanned the whole of this area. So people that were interested in buying these apartments could actually walk around in them and get that feeling of how would the view be, how would the light look. And this helped Carlsberg, which was the client, sell more apartments, because it was kind of getting that sales funnel a little bit faster down the line. So this is also just to show you that the behavioral change has also to do with transporting people into environments that is harder for us to show them in the actual real world. With augmented reality, it's a little bit different, because you don't have that full immersion, but there's still so many good cases of actually using AR to explain things better. So we did this experience for Coloplast. They're selling this bandage that actually goes down in the wound and helps the wound heal better. But it's really hard for them to explain to the different doctors and nurses that has to buy this in. So what they did was to have a QR code and place it on people's hands and actually show them on their own hand how this worked. And just having that feeling of being the focus on this experience made them understand this a lot better. So it was also used as a sales tool to explain something that was a bit complicated to just explain without any visual focus. We've also done this thing for citizen engagement. So a lot of times when you have some construction and there's a lot of people that get annoyed because it involves their surroundings, sometimes it's because they don't really understand what it is that's going on in their area. So what we did was to explain this with AR. So you could scan these QR codes around the area and actually see what Frederiksberg municipality was doing. They were rainwater security, and maybe a lot of people didn't really understand what that was. But now they were very taken through this visualization that was really easy explained to them. So that is how we've worked a lot with trying to change citizen engagement, with making them a little bit more not resistance to this, to buildings and things around them. And of course, AR filters is something that we also work with, because it is a really easy way to get your message out. And I think there's a lot of good examples on how social media filters can make a lot of fun engagement things for brands. But there is also these really important messages that you can get out through the social media filters. So you can actually create a sense of branding, brand awareness, but also a feeling of standing together with the brand through maybe a campaign that shows, L'Oréal did, which is probably more of a CSR campaign, but very much a feeling of being closer to the brand. Same here with what we did for Konyher, which is a travel agency. they had a lot of issues in Corona times, and for people who couldn't travel. So they did this little randomized filter, which is just a way of making sure that people were still aligned with the brand and were still engaging with their brand in terms of this like fun little thing that could be interesting for them. So just to sum up with this, so there's a lot of like, I think you've seen this a million times on this conference, but there's a lot of hype around different new technologies. And I think what we're really striving to is show like where is the actual potential in these technologies. And for now, I think what VR and AI are really showing is how can we use these technologies as tools? How can we really use them not to just create cool things and make gimmicky things, but also like how can we actually turn this into campaigns that are having a message where we want to change something, where we want people to really feel connected to the brand or the message that you're trying to convey. So I think, to basically sum up, I think this is where VR and AR really shows the true potential of being used in a marketing perspective as it is for now. So I think I have 3 minutes left. Yeah? I did it on time. So if you guys have any questions for this or for Core in general.
How did you bring the about the AR things in the environment? How did you bring it to the people? How many people could watch it? How many?
So with the AR environment, so that was on phones. So that was yeah. So it was basically smartphones. Everyone that had a smartphone could. This was an app, so you had to download that, which is sometimes also a little bit of a struggle to get people to download more things. But I think in terms of this Frederiksberg case, people wanted to know what's going on, so they wanted to see it.
Same question with the flats.
Mm-hmm.
The flats, the setting of the flats.
Yeah.
That's all over my phone, and now it was by.
That was with VR headset. So something that we really not struggle with, but it is something that you have to consider is where do you have the audience? Because it makes no sense if you want to sell this to a lot of people that it's VR, but here they have like a showroom and you can come in and if you are interested in buying an apartment, you can come in, you can have a talk with a sales agent and you try the VR experience. So you have to have that physical space to do it. Otherwise, it makes no sense. Yeah.
I have also one question. Do you have also experiences with multi-sensor experiences and using, watching and hearing and sensing, hearing, I don't know, like multi-sensor experiences in combining with extended reality or mixed reality, let's say?
Not as for now, no. We don't have any experience with doing that, but I think it's also because we know what we're best at, and I think for now we are playing a little bit around with haptic things, but it's still early days, and I think as more progresses with the technology, we can do more things that also like get your senses like smell and haptics and listening. But we do work with some audio agencies, and that's a lot to do with the 3D sounds and stuff. So that's something that we work a lot with for now.
Okay, thank you. And another question: which branches and sectors do you think are leading in the northern countries? Would be interesting for us in Austria.
So which of the
different branches or sectors? I don't know, from the industry.
So for us, I think what we work with most is like the healthcare sector and also like educational. That's where we see that there's more like interest with these technologies, because I think the hard thing about marketing is it has to be physical if it's VR. So the whole like getting a broad like audience to watch your experience is still a little bit early days with VR. So that's where we use a lot of AR stuff. But in terms of having the most impressive experiences is in the healthcare industry. That's where we really see how this changes, because behavioral change is such an important part of that. Yeah.
I agree. Healthcare.
Thank you. Okay. Another one?
Hi, my name is Matthias. I'm from a metaverse agency. Do you have experience with metaverse platforms beyond VR headsets?
Well, I think we have been a little bit maybe not against the metaverse as such, but we've been a little bit careful about going into these platforms because we don't really know which ones are best to work with in terms of seeing how they actually progress right now. But we've done something in Roblox, which I think personally is the only like metaverse that actually works best right now. But for us, it's also seeing like different perspective on this whole, like what is the metaverse used for? And I think it is a really good possibilities when it's when industrial and different like industries like that goes into it. But for marketing, like a commercial perspective is still early days, I think, with the metaverse. Yeah.
Any more questions, guys? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Katrine.
Thank you.
A round of applause, everybody.